Well, hello everybody! How is everyone's Friday doing? It's the end of the week, and we are ready to get on to the weekend. If you're working weekends, I'm sorry. That really sucks. But yes, hope everyone is doing well, though. Oh gosh, so we all ready to get on into the subway, the Caldera Street Station. I see there is an alien in chat, and I am very concerned, but hello, alien. I will be the representative for the planet Earth. How are you doing? Do you know if you get them all beside... Oh, I think you guys are talking about some other thing that I'm not aware of. It's Saturday for you? Oh, gotcha. Saw a video of the 10 worst areas to traverse through. Okay, Enrique. Max Payne Blood Trail was one. Dude, that area was a pain. I'm not gonna lie. The Blood Trail for Max Payne was a pain, but at the same time, it's iconic, so I wouldn't have it any other way. Anyways, let's go ahead and get all the intro stuff taken care of. If you're just finding this video for the first time, I just wanted to say hello. My name is Dean. I mostly do video essays on the channel, dealing with video games, but today we are going to be playing some more of the final draft of Alan Wake 2. Hey there, PDX Jake. Thank you so much for the donation, buddy. Hey, glad to be here. You the man, dude. You the man. Thank you. Sorry, my work phone just decided to start going off. Alrighty, alrighties. I can't talk tonight. I want everyone, if you hear me just mispronounce words, just send a virtual slap through the chat for me. I appreciate it. I need to figure out how to talk again. Yeah, absolutely, MHND. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read fully. I hope that's your name. I'm glad I was able to help with some of the Alan Wake lore. Alrighty, so we are going to get going down into the Caldera Street Station, and what I want to keep in the forefront of everyone's mind as we're going through this is we're intentionally looking for all the narrative parallels with what's going on in reality. Specifically, like, the reason we're calling this the Caldera Street Station is because it overlaps with Cauldron Lake, which is a caldera, so that's a very obvious one. But every little last detail, we're going to try to see how it compares to reality, but also get clues about reality at the same time. The crossbow's already attained, so I wouldn't be surprised if we've already counted. Still an open map. Oh, it sounds like Ghost, you're getting some advice on some of the gameplay stuff. Alrighty, well, let's go ahead and just get going. Subway pass. And if anyone's wondering about the shotgun on Alan's back, I am using the alternate skins for all of his weaponry right now. Just for the fun of it.
Something about the station platform felt significant. It would work in my writing, but I needed more.
So I'm going to go ahead and throw a pineapple out there real quick. Has anyone found the missing echo from the first draft? I don't want to know where it is, but is it in the final draft? Because before the New Game Plus came out, I could not find it for the life of me, and I went online and no one can find it for the life of them. So just let me know if it has been found as a result of New Game Plus. Anyways, Looper Express to Mere Heights, except late nights. Late nights, you end up here. Dark Avenue downtown via the bridge. And there we do have one of the echoes.
Something lingered here. A half-forgotten memory. An echo.
Let's go, Casey.
An FBI agent had come here before me on the trail of a murder cult. He'd gone missing. Presumed dead. The cult was leaving me clues to follow, connecting the dots from one murder to the next, inviting me to draw an obscene picture on the city map. Caldera Street Station. The name made me think of the exit wound of a bullet.
I had a flash of inspiration. The ghost of my fictional detective. A story thread I could use in my writing.
So for the purposes of each of these echoes, we're going to go with the understanding that these are actually movies that Alan's getting inspiration from. Now, I don't think these movies have actually ever played in reality, but they do exist down here in the Dark Place. And the reason they're movies, we'll get into that shortly. Alright, and the great thing about here is we always have all the signs are just parts of the departure manuscript. Like, I've always had a vivid imagination, but this dream had settled me. That's just the intro text from the first game. Do you think you can just play with stuff? People's lives and kill them when they add to the drama. This is the hitchhiker talking smack on him. Here's the Stephen King quote from the beginning. Hey there, Laura. How you doing? Yeah, all the writings on the walls are exactly the same, as far as I can tell so far. Alright.
I had a location. I had a story thread. I would put them together, write them into my story to create a path deeper into the Dark Place.
Alright, I had to find my way to the subway station. The lamp would make it emerge. I met Casey. He was in the story. This was his city. He talked about a manuscript. It had to be my writing. Casey was killed by the Dark Presence. I had assumed his role. Every writer is a detective finding the story. I guess that's one way to put it. The Dark Caldera. Some of the places felt significant here. Had I written them into being, I used them as scenes in the story. The station platform was a threshold to be crossed. I saw a vision, an echo of a forgotten idea about a Casey story, a glimpse into another reality, a plot element for the story to travel deeper, a liminal space, inspiration, murder site, deeper. I'm doing pretty good, thank you, Laura. So far, fan of stuff, the biggest change we found is there is a new TV section of Alan ranting, and it's actually very, very relevant. Alright, a liminal place, crossing the threshold, missing FBI agent. They caught him. The blood trail led to the darkness of the tunnels.
Things clicked into place. The story rang true. I was making progress. The dark place reacted to my story. The way into the tunnels was no longer blocked.
So yeah, so what ended up happening is he got bashed in the head with a pipe, dropped his nightstick, and then dragged all the way through here. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves some stuff down here before we head all the way in. Yes, yes, and nothing in there. Come on. Boom. Perfect. Words of power. What kind of power are we getting? Flare projectile, enemy area of effect. Let's go ahead and just max these out, and then we'll start working on the flare guns. Colonel Mustard with the lead pipe? Exactly. That's exactly what happened. Colonel Mustard. I mean, David did technically say that Colonel Mustard was responsible, so it wouldn't surprise me.
The Fed had glimpsed into the maw of darkness. It swallowed him whole.
Now, we know because of what happens later on in this section that the Fed is Agent Nightingale. So in the movie, there was a random FBI agent that came out here to investigate and got taken by the cult, and that's when Casey was brought out to investigate the FBI agent's disappearance. In the film, though, Robert Nightingale was cast to play the role of that FBI agent. Now, this happened, I don't know when, timeline-wise, because it's kind of hard to say in the Dark Place, but after he was called back into the lake at the end of the original Alan Wake, it was said that he was wandering around in the subway for a while, and it looks like he got caught up in the story and cast as the character. Yes, Enrique, I will be playing the God of War DLC. 100%. As soon as we're done with this
The tracks led into the tunnel.
100%.
That was my way forward. The blood trail
I
continued
don't trust
deeper
any
into
of you.
darkness.
Goodbye. Alrighties. So as far as I know, the entryway, you can't use the other scenes there, but we're going to keep going back to double check anyways. Thank you, game, for messing with my head right there. Well, I don't think it was for 13 years. I mean, it's entirely possible from Nightingale's perspective it was only a short amount of time, but the thing is we don't know, so I can't really say much. No, so the badge Megalodon is going to be of the FBI agent that was abducted by the cult. As far as I can tell. Hold on, let's go look back at the scene again. Yeah, it's going to be the one taken by the cult. And then Casey was brought in after the fact, another FBI agent, to investigate his disappearance, and that led to the whole murder cult plotline for this film. I actually, Harkon, I started Disco Elysium. I played maybe an hour, but I haven't really gotten back to it. It's just there's way too much on my plate. Increases painkillers. Let's go ahead and just do that for now. And I know that there is a briefcase down here somewhere. As far as I know, there's a briefcase down here somewhere. And I don't have a map yet. Wonderful. Did I not collect the map back at the entrance? I guess I missed it. Okay, let's run back real fast to grab that. Near the wiggly bit. I mean, it might show up later once we have better access to that. Max, oh, the map is in the next save room? Okay. Then no worries. I don't really, frankly, need it at this point. Leave me alone, fade outs. Oh, it's literally right here. Yes, because I'm very intelligent, I promise. Okay. You know what? That's plenty. That's fine for now. Still plenty enough room in case we open some new things up.
The tunnels were a maze. The blood trail led me on.
And it looks like they already did their investigation because they have the evidence thingamajiggers all over the place.
Another place to use in the story. I needed to search the tunnels for further visions. Inspiration for the story that would lead me deeper.
Okay.
The new scene I had found was important for the story.
It is. So the collapsed tunnel is going to be the gateway into the... Right there it says doorway to the underworld. That's going to be one of the gates to... Thematically is a gate to the dark place, even though we are in the dark place. But you know what I mean. Key locations, what happens here. This is where the agent's trail went cold. A ghost.
I changed the story. And with that, the dark place changed. The federal agent had come here looking for answers. All he found was a fate worse than death.
Come on.
It's bad luck to be on this case. The cult can get you anywhere with that black magic shit. Let the day shift handle it. What happened, anyway?
Some Fed came looking for the cult, but it was a trap. A satanic blood sacrifice.
Anyone who gets involved with the cult, they're next. I heard their leader is this famous writer, Alan Wake. Their unholy motherfucking messiah.
Sounds like a load of bull.
Well, Jose Vento, so I know the echo with Tammy, it's actually on the other side of this wall right here. Unless there's a second one with Tammy, that, as far as I can tell. Alright, so here's another example of Thornton and Mulligan are cast to play the roles of the two NYPD detectives because thematically they behave in a similar way. They came across the cult's activity instead of the cult of the word, the cult of the tree, blah, 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 blah. We know how their story progresses from there. Because, yeah, I think the Tammy one's like right on the other side of this right here. Give me... I got some ammo. That's not bad. Hold on. Right. Wrong mouse. Get out of my way. If Nightingale was cast in the movie as a sacrifice, that reflects the opening of the game. Exactly, Stike Faker. That's the whole point, is they're basically playing out the exact same roles, just instead of in real life, it's down here in this film that we're currently playing through. And it's important to distinguish the two, because when we get to the everything regarding this version of Zane, this Doppel Zane, so to speak, is he does everything through the artistic lens of film. And sometimes Alan's writings and his films overlap each other, and it becomes kind of hard to distinguish which is which. Now, we don't know who made these Alex Casey films down here in the Dark Place. I don't want to say Zane was involved. I don't think he was, but it's hard to say. Maybe Dor worked on it. Maybe Alan didn't realize it. Maybe somebody else did. Who knows?
Another echo lingered here. A source of inspiration.
See, here's going to be the one with Tammy right here.
Word is your research can help me, ma'am. What do you know?
There's more than one urban legend about the cult of the word. The murder cult used these tunnels for their ritual sacrifices. They say the cult reenacted the murders in Alan Wake's crime books. That Wake was even involved somehow, under a false identity. Mr. Scratch, which is, of course, a nickname for the devil himself.
It was disturbing finding myself in the story this way. But I was desperate, and it felt right for the story.
Yep, it absolutely does. Now, because, again, Tammy is a real-life real crime novelist who's working on something about Alan, it makes sense that she's cast in the role of what I presume to be, like, either a news person or someone who's, like, professor or something along those lines. It's kind of hard to understand that from the dialogue or not. No, Max, I'm getting your messages. You're saying that still the 10th one is glitched out. That's fine. Alright, and the reason I'm running back is I want to test something real quick. In the base game, you couldn't use the scenes in the entrance to the subway. I just want to double check and see if that's still the case. She's playing Professor Melissa. Yeah, that's the kind of the impression I got. I just don't know if they explicitly said that or not. And that's why it makes a lot more sense if we go at it with the hypothesis that we're playing through the events of a film right now, because we have characters that we know in real life that are living out completely different lives here. So, again, actors playing a role. Okay, let me see if I can actually...
The plot element I found would drive the story forward.
No, you still cannot do it. Okay, never mind. I just wanted to double check. We'll see, Flarouche, that's going to be one of the secret endings, is that it actually is Colonel Mustard, and he just shows up. It's like the dog ending of Silent Hill 2. Alright, let's get going. How's the audio, by the way? I do have the game audio turned down a little bit. Hopefully it still works. The subtitle dialogue. Oh, then I'm not... Okay, thank you, Melissa. So apparently I do call her Professor. I'm just not very observant, apparently. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, because I was under the impression a lot of our missing stuff was going to be in New Game Plus, and it was intentionally left out, but it seems like none of that's the case. The ritual antechamber to the cult's place of dark power.
The story was affecting the scene. I could imagine this murder cult performing their macabre acts beyond the collapsed tunnel.
Mm-hmm. Alright, what to serve him? Since a version of everyone stays in the dark place, when the old gods re-enter the end, do you think they'd come, or update the versions in the lake? I mean, we don't have confirmation that they entered the lake before this point in time, but based upon the position of the eye patch for Odin, I'd presume they did. Like, what I'm hoping happens with Odin and Tor after they enter the dark place this time is because there's going to be a version of them always there. They kind of pseudo become the deities that their namesakes stand for. As long as they find a way to control the dark place, which Alan obviously cannot. But other entities can control themselves in this reality and make use of it. But Alan his mind's too chaotic for that.
The cultists laid the Casey novel onto the altar with reverence. Their twisted Bible.
What I find interesting on these is most of the words are scratched out except for random phrases. And I'm wondering if they're trying to, set it up so that, you would read it as if the rest of these words don't exist and you're only reading specific ones. And someone pointed this out in my recent video when I talked about the 7 Easter eggs, but a lot of these lights here are shaped in V's, possibly referencing Valkyr. But that's just a tinfoil theory on that one. Okay, now we're going to have, not these ones, but as soon as we turn to the left, we're going to have some enemies we got to fight. Oh, jeez. I can't see him. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Can't find him. Alright, we're good. We will survive. What's the dark poem, Max? Alright, let's see if I can get any health up. You're doing story difficulty for New Game Plus? Well, I'm playing a nightmare because I downgraded the difficulty. No, I'm not going to be able to. Jeez. Okay, let's see how much healing supplies. I do not have a lot of healing right now. I have a feeling if I take one more hit, I'm basically dead. So, sure. Let's use the first aid kit. Technically speaking, I should have gotten that one upgrade where you get health recovery when you find words of power. Because that is definitely going to help save a lot of healing stuff. Plus, I have the one where you heal yourself when you shine the flashlight on things.
The way forward was open.
Oh yeah, speaking of which... Oh, we don't have to worry about the manuscripts until we get back to Saga's part of the story. So we're good for now. But I can tell a lot of those are going to be the dark poems.
Hey, Alan.
What up?
Tim Breaker. In case you don't remember again.
I know, Tim. I'm remembering more now.
It's good to hear, man.
How's your search for Mr. Door going?
It's not great. This dream we're in. Putting a lot of roadblocks in my way.
Yeah, Max, I don't want you to tell me what the missing echo is supposed to be at all. I want to be able to find it on my own. Well, if I find it on my own, I want to be able to experience it blind. I don't want to know it in advance.
So you think this is a dream?
I'm not ruling it out. You know, my dreams have always been incredibly vivid. They feel real until the second I wake up. In the dreams, I'm often someone else. A different person with a different name, living a different life in a different world. It's alternate realities, maybe. But certain things don't change. Like Door.
The sketch you have does look like the Door I know. The talk show host.
All I know is the Door has something to do with what's happening to me. And he knows that I know. He's like some sadistic mastermind torturing me.
Well, we know that Alan Wake does exist in the Quantum Break universe as an author, and there's also a video game of Alan Wake in that universe as well. But the biggest question I have regarding Tim/Jack's character is which is the original and which is the dream version. Is it that Tim Breaker is the root of the character and Jack Joyce in the Quantum Break universe is just one of the dreams? Or is Jack Joyce the root of it and Tim Breaker is just one of the dream personalities that he has? Now, I'm personally on the fence that the Quantum Break universe is the root of the Martin Hatch and the Jack Joyce character, and that these are just reflections of them, only because they kind of behave the rules of what a shifter is in that setting, where they basically exist in all realities simultaneously, and the only way to truly kill a shifter is to kill every version of them, meaning every dream permutation of them. So it would make more sense to me if Quantum Break was the root and Tim is a projection from that universe, but we don't really have enough information to say that definitively right now. Well, the reason, Stikefaker, that I say which one is the origin point is solely because you have to explain why the dreams of him are becoming new personalities. It's not just that both are doing it simultaneously. Like, I wouldn't say this is like the Lutesh twins from BioShock Infinite, for example, where they're both kind of like semi the same thing and accidentally have a Venn diagram. I probably did not explain myself whatsoever right there. I apologize. What is a place? A dream feels like it. Not real. No place. Every place. All places. And this is what I was saying, that the dark place is literally every story, any place, every time, like kind of condensed down into the same thing. Now New York, not New York City, away to the other places, a nexus. Is door the gatekeeper or trying to get somewhere, everywhere? Door, gate, portal, port, opening, access, window. So, for anyone's curiosity, I will continue to call this place Noir York City. I don't care. This is Noir York City for me. Jeez, it's not giving me anything. Alright, so I know where pretty much all of these are. Hopefully we can get some more healing supplies, because that's really what I need. I mean, ammo is always good, too. And there's Night Springs right there. There's the 8W graffiti from Quantum Break. Okay, and there's going to be one coming out of this door right now. I think I have enough pistol ammo. Ka-ching. Agent Nightingale didn't want to be in Bright Falls. Oh, that's him talking about how much he hates the coffee. Alright, let's go. I mean, healing supplies is not bad. I'm not going to ever turn that down.
The memory is fading like a dream. I must hold on to it. I remember an awful beacon in the darkness, the scene of a ritualistic murder site in the subway tunnels. Is it a previous draft of my writing? Must be. I've been trying to shape the dark place around me, but so much fades away. Even my memory of the process, washed away by dark waves. But some things remain. The darkest, nastiest elements, like the murder site. It's my goal, a stepping stone to travel deeper to escape. Write a narrative that takes me there. Casey will lead me to it.
So now we get the chance to kind of recontextualize a lot of these videos, because in the first one entitled Spirals, which is the new one for New Game Plus, it poses the question, okay, is it not that I'm seeing previous drafts, but I'm also seeing future drafts of the story? And if I'm being inspired by future drafts, then I can start writing them now. And I'm the source of my own inspiration, as Dr. Campbell, Eugene Campbell in this game kind of asserted. Well, Noir York Melissa actually is a thing in Address Unknown. So, Max Payne, there was a TV show called Address Unknown, where the protagonist found himself in Noir York City, which is a twisted, dark reflection of New York, where he's trying to pursue his dark doppelganger, who wears the same face as him and took over his identity. So you'll see the parallels of why I just call this place Noir York.
The train blocked my way forward, but it was here for a reason. It had a role to play.
Oh god, this entire sequence was just disturbing. Yeah, I could have healed myself right there rather than used actual healing supplies, but whatever. Let's see, Words of War. Increases the revolver 50%. I mean, this does heal you when you use a flare gun, which is nice. This increases when you're getting attacked by multiple enemies. And does that take me up to 35? It takes me up to 35. Oh, this is 100%. I'm going to stick with this one only because I have chronic reload syndrome, and I very rarely use the last bullet in my in the revolver.
I was sure I had the answer on the plot board.
Okay. Derailed train plot
I had
scene.
a new idea for a scene.
Something terrifying happened here. Yes, it did. So we're going to do these in order. We're going to do every single scene, or every single location, every single scene. The agent had come here looking for the cult, for trouble.
I changed the story, and with that, the dark place changed.
Hello? Anyone there?
Dead.
So this right here is Agent Estevez, who is calling for the FBI agent that is played by Nightingale here. And as you can see, Nightingale is trying to pry open these to get inside so he can pass through. It didn't end up working. But it gives me the impression that in this version, the FBI agent's partner is played by Estevez, where Nightingale is the primary one. Yeah, I saw that, Bax, that Odin uses Baldur's guitar in Dark Ocean Summoning, and some suggest that's why Baldur is able to manifest himself. Alright, Murder Cult. The cult used fire to claim dominion over the tunnels.
The story was taking shape. The cult poured the gasoline over the train car. An iron cage that would soon become a coffin.
Like, honestly, for me, this is... Like, I wouldn't say specifically a train car on fire is one of the most horrifying deaths, but it's the idea, it's a type of death where you see it coming in slow motion and there's nothing you can do to escape from it. It doesn't matter what form that takes, but, like, at least if there's some way to get out of the situation, there's a lesser degree of fear, but when there's literally nothing, it's just that sickening pit in your stomach. Oh, Jesus! Oh, Jesus! Stop it! Stop it! Shit. Head. Now you have no head. Beautiful. It's right there. I just reloaded. I could have not reloaded. But whatever. Come on.
Go on, ma'am. Come on, ma'am.
This is where the history of the cult gets genuinely disturbing.
It does say professor, okay.
The cultists tracked down the torchbearers living in the tunnels. They locked the poor folks up in a derailed subway car, doused it in gasoline. Yeah.
Charming.
It turns into a bit of a ghost story after that. They say the dark smoke from the fire still roams the tunnels searching for new victims to devour.
There are no happy endings in this city.
The story thread felt important. I could use it in one of the scenes I'd found.
So the interesting thing about this echo right here is Tammy's professor character is asserting that the cult of the word took the torchbearers and burned them alive in here. Now, in this version of the story, the torchbearers are some kind of like mystic group that existed and lived down here. They came from out of town and did some rituals down here in the subway. In real life, the torchbearers refer to the Night Springs group, which was run by Frank Breaker, included Pat May, it included Thornton, included Mulligan, included Deputy Grant, included Sarah Breaker, for example. So I don't know if we want to do direct one-to-one parallels, because we're saying that the parallel for Cult of the Word, which is Cult of the Tree, killed the Torchbearers, which is the Night Springs group. I don't think that's should be taken literally. I think it's more of a overtaking situation. But the other thing I found interesting is that the smoke rising from the Torchbearers' bodies is what gave birth to the darkness that's down here in the tunnels, which is equated with the dark presence. Now, again, I don't see how those parallels can work in real life, but it's just something to keep in mind. Well, Laura, like, one thing I have heard, too, is that it depends on how much smoke there is, because you can pass out from the smoke before you actually start burning. But on a flip side, this may be a little bit of a weird story, but I actually have a friend who did temporarily, her heart stopped from drowning. She actually legitimately died from drowning before she was resuscitated. And according to her account, once the water filled her lungs, it actually became very peaceful. But everything leading up to struggling against it was the hardest part.
Wake.
Alright, we're going to go ahead and switch up the scene way over here. Because we got the Torchbearers scene, we're going to head back to the collapsed tunnel and use that real fast. No, they're exactly going to be the same fan of stuff. So the Torchbearers are referring to... I don't think... Are you talking about Herald of Darkness, or are you talking about Children of the Elder Gods? Because yes, if you're asking about the Torchbearers. Okay.
I had a new idea, a new story thread.
Torchbearers revered this place before the cult. And of course, we have the Bright Falls symbol right here.
The drifters had scrawled their symbol on the wall. A secret for those in the know.
For those in the know. So this is the same symbol that Cynthia Weaver would paint over the caches that she left for Alan. It's the symbol of the Bright Falls power plant. So Alan's using it as a symbol of these Torchbearers. Wait, where is it? Where is it?
The homeless torchbearers painted the tree there. The tree of knowledge. The tree of life with its roots reaching down to hell. It could have been a Christmas tree for all the good it did them.
Yep, in a tree, the roots go into the heavens, or the roots go down into hell, and the branches go up to heavens. It also gives me the flashback to Dylan's vision of Deerfest with the roots starting to take over everything. Yes, Ty, for the context of this series, I'm going to say Yggdrasil, but those kinds of world tree and tree of knowledge crosses various faith systems, mythologies, and folklore. Don't attack me. You taught it to your AP. What book are we talking about? You guys are talking about a book, but I think I kind of missed it. Okay, apparently there's something to open over here, and I keep missing it. Am I crazy? Because it says there's like an openable container here, but I cannot find it. Atonement? Oh, I haven't... I'm not aware of that book. Alright. The way forward through the bowels of the burnt carcass.
The plot changes shaped the world around me. The subway car had become a burnt husk.
All right, everyone.
I can get through it now.
Buckle up. Legitimately the most disturbing part of the game for me. Yeah. Okay, I'll go check now that we switched the scene. Still not here. It's not a big deal. Not really. Like, I don't see this Clotinus as a direct comparison to the Eagle Limited, because the whole thing with Eagle Limited is the train derailed, and then the memories of what happened leading up to the train derailment was permanently imprinted upon the train, is how that AWE manifested itself. It wasn't a fire like this. Okay, all my damage is up. And also, those projectiles don't deal a lot of damage, so it's not really a big deal right now. It's fine, Nathan. Like, I'm not that hard up on materials. Oh, great. So this is going to be tough. I might want to use one of my flare guns here, because there is... Wait, can I get it from here? If I can get it from here, I'm happy. But I think I'm going to have to go into there, and if I go into there... Come on. Come on. Because if I go into there, I'm going to have to fight a bunch of fade-outs. Got it. Beautiful. That's just going to save me a lot of ammo. Words of Fix increases max health. Restores 100% of max health when new words of power are discovered. Dude, that's awesome. So as long as you space them out, you're good. Well, I'm just sequence breaking this real quick. That just saved me a lot of healing supplies and a lot of other things.
My
too.
path was blocked. I had to find a way through. The lights would help me.
Alright, the first time I did this, I really got stuck here. There we go. Let's try not to get stuck here this time. Pay attention to the walls. I mean, like, I see a bunch of woods. The words hunted. I do see somebody with an axe. Initiation, but that's really about it. And then here's someone holding the axe, just looking at the tree, not hunting. This one has them over. Oh! So the drawings actually changed, too. Interesting. Alright. Alright, dog. Sorry, the dog wants to go out real quick. Give me a second. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and BRB. I need to get some more water. One moment. Alright, we are back. You're asking whose eye that is, Robin? Weirdly enough, that's Sam Lake's eyeball. True story. Alright, here we go. Alright. So now the hard part is going to be to run down here and try not to get beaten by some shadows. Nope, not all the way down, not all the way down, not all the way down.
The dark place wouldn't let me go that way.
Yeah, but it's somewhere here. Where is it? There it is. Got it. Woo. Alright. Oh, and I got... It actually refunded my shot right there, which is really cool. So I didn't even use my pistol ammo. Alright. Words of lamp. I guess we're putting on chance to stun with the flashlight. Okay. Come on. Actually, I'm gonna save that one in case I need to heal myself. No, let's leave the light on inside.
Wake.
The story is a monster. Yep, that was written by Alan himself. In the trailer.
Wake. Alan Wake.
Go away. End of the
The
line.
echoing hall had a story to tell.
Yeah, so the eye I got from that, there, if you go to the nightmare intro scene in Alan Wake 1, when you're in the cabin and all the TV screens turn on and you see his eyeball moving around, that's where we pulled the assets for on the BRB screen. And yeah, that's Sam's eye just going crazy. Okay, and it sounds like the cat is trying to come in again. So let me... Zoe, let me loot real quick, and then I'll let you in. Oh my gosh. One of these days you're going to scratch a hole through my door. Oh no, I didn't miss it, Kenyatta. I'm intentionally not getting the one that's on the side of that, just so that I can use it for healing later. So I'll grab it in a second. No fan of stuff. There's no, like, it's not that Alan can't write other genres of fiction. Come on, hop up. There you go, good girl. It's just that when he got to the point of the story, it's already a horror story, so he kind of has to stick with it. In the first game, the reason why it started off as a pseudo-love story, and the dark presence kind of twisted the narrative to become a horror story as it went on. And once it's a horror story, you kind of have to stick with the same genre. Hey there, Bragg IT guy. Wow, holy crap, dude. Thank you so much for the donation. You're very generous. I very much appreciate it. You're awesome. The Remedy universe is the dark place in our screens. Alan made the dark place. He created the FBC since he created the Hiss, Tom Zane. The games are a ritual to lead the characters on to find the Dreamer, Sam Lake. I mean, we do have a Night Springs episode that deals with the Dreamer. And trying to figure out who it is specifically, the one who's dreaming reality. And I know that there is a Lovecraftian entity, which is also considered the dreamer of that reality. That being said, Remedy has confirmed that Alan did not create the FBC and did not create the Hiss. He did create the Hiss chant, which was a way to try to verbalize their resonance. But in the art book for Control, they confirmed that no, he did not create the FBC. That being said, he was inspired by the real-life FBC when he wrote that episode. So this game very much goes out of its way to knock home the point that you can be inspired by things that you've never experienced before. Like, something can happen in the future that you become inspired by. For example, Alan writing about the real-life Alex Casey. He never knew who Casey was. He didn't know anything about his life, but he, in his dreams, saw him and started writing about him. So Alan saw the FBC and the situation regarding the Hiss in his dreams and was inspired to write about it for that screenplay of Night Springs. But it's Remedy themselves confirmed that no, that those two things, the FBC and the Hiss, were not created by Alan, so to speak. But he did write about them before he knew what they were. The only thing we have confirmation on is that he did create the Hiss, the his chant, the poem. You just wanted your thoughts on this. Yeah, so that's right there. In terms of Thomas Zane, I don't really have any thoughts on it because I thought we'd get some information in this one about Zane. No, it's even more confusing as a result of this game. So I don't feel comfortable passing on a hypothesis. Alright, end of the line.
I had found another compelling location to use.
How could he write the Hiss chant if he hasn't been to the oldest house? Well, easy. He basically was in the dark place and started throwing together random lines of dialogue, threw it into the shoebox, pulled them out one by one, and that's how he created it. Like, this is explicitly stated in one of his hotline calls, that's exactly how he created the Hiss chant. Alright, missing FBI agent. The agent witnessed the cult's depravity and ran. And keep in mind, this entire time,
the plot changed the details of the world.
The FBI agent in question is Nightingale, and it's implied that the real-life Nightingale, after he got sucked back into the dark place, was cast in the role of this FBI agent. So this is our actual Nightingale experiencing all of this. And while they're sitting here... Okay, cat, are you done with me? I guess the cat's done with me. And this is what's going on with Nightingale while he's witnessing this. So yeah, Nightingale's literally hiding back here, peeping out and watching this murder scene going on. Yeah, Worm Through Time, which is definitely... I have two things regarding Worm Through Time. Is obviously it can be in reference to the Dark Place and how it functions, but also the Worm Through Time can refer to, I've heard some people say, Jormungandr, where the Great Serpent was basically thrown back to the beginning of time. And he's a serpent, so literally a worm in some ways of looking at it. Eating hair, easy enough, they go bald. So it's kind of somewhat confirmed that the reason Dylan Faden is bald is because he became Hiss infected. Because after he was cleansed of the Hiss, he started growing hair again. So just little weird things like that. Just little weird things like that. One of these days I'm going to do a full breakdown of the Hiss chant and try to do some predictions, but it's kind of difficult. Murder cult. This is where the cult waited for the time to strike.
The hole had changed into the murder cult's hideout.
Now here's the thing we got to keep in mind here, guys, is this imagery of the handprints, because these are basically hands that started drawing the white paint of the spiral. We see a painting of this in room 665, where Thomas Zane's room is. And we also see it all throughout the hotel when we get to that part of the game. What that means? Nobody knows.
The Fed had witnessed something here that made him run scared. Whether the summoning ritual had been a bona fide supernatural event or the mass psychosis of stark raving lunatics, it didn't change the facts. The cult was messing with things no one should mess with.
The ritual was a vital part of the story, the key to reaching the murder site. The cultists were close now, a dark presence rising from the depths.
See, this is what I was referring to in the others. Sorry about that, guys. No one likes having being yawned in the ear. Well, this is what I was referring to in the other scene where they scratched out pretty much everything but not some things. So it says the writer, not of the last, the shadow cast. Third eye, project the night. This is your time when you're gone. Writer, the first word, not the last. And the shadow, eye open. This is your time. Ritual, friends will meet. Not the right of the light, shadow to right to lead will meet. So they're like creating a weird poem out of Alan's work. And some of these, the time ritual friends will meet, it's almost like some of the poem that Thomas Zane created was based upon Alan's actual manuscript, but he only picked specific words out of his manuscript to create his poem, if that makes sense. Yeah, exactly. It's the dark poem, but it's not. Because some of this stuff, like writer of the first word, but not the last, it's like... It's weird. Because supposedly all of these pages are from Alan's previous books. Yeah, blackout poetry. Thank you, Laura. But it seems like Thomas Zane made blackout poetry from Alan's stories. It's actually kind of freaking weird. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do here, real quick, before we do anything else,
this new plot beat would carry me deeper into the story.
I'm gonna remove all the scenes real quick because it's safer to do so. I learned this the hard way, but if you keep that scene, then backtrack, all of the fade-outs start attacking you. But if you take the scene off, all the fade-outs kind of just leave you alone for the most part. Because I want to go back to the subway, the derailed train scene, and throw on the the summoning ritual. Technically, Alice did meet Scratch, and it's debatable if Barry did. I only say that because Barry experienced the events of American Nightmare in his dreams. Because if we remember correctly, the events of American Nightmare is an episode of Night Springs that Barry fell asleep in the Cardinal Hotel to reruns of Night Springs, and one of those episodes while he was sleeping was the events of American Nightmare. And when he woke up, he thought he heard Alan. He called Alan's name as if he'd heard them. It's almost implied that while he was dreaming, the events of American Nightmare took place in his dream. So you could kind of argue that he experienced Mr. Scratch because of that, but it's kind of a leap. Is Polaris a spiral? Polaris kind of is a spiral, but I've also heard some people equate Polaris to the kind of spiral you get from a camera shutter, trying to assert a connection to Alice Wake. Now, I can't say that's factual or not, but that's something I have heard. The summoning ritual. The dark presence ruled the tunnels.
Fuck.
Okay, let's not do that. That's kind of scary. An aperture? Thank you. Okay, so we're not going to be able to get that. We're going to have to use the Torchbearer's one.
A sick and twisted story. But it worked. This was something out of a horror story, but I had to keep going.
See, I'm still here, and it's still not showing up. I mean, let's try the missing FBI agent scene. Nope. Let's try the Dark Presence one. Summoning ritual. See, even like I've tried every version of the scene and it's still not showing it here, so maybe it's just bugged on the map. Yep, still 0 deaths, Draco. Weirdly enough, I'm doing better on Nightmare than I did on normal difficulty. But that's just because I'm used to the gameplay somewhat now. You need a Rocky Horror for Alan Wake now? Oh, jeez. It's fine. It's fine. I don't need to break the wood board. I don't care enough. I'm doing pretty good, Draco. How's your day? Do. See, at this point, guys, I'm just gonna not go back to it just to annoy you all. Ask Draco, I'm kind of famous for doing that. If enough people tell me to do something, I'm just gonna be like, you know what? No, not gonna happen. Just because it ticks you off. I'm kind of a jerk like that. I apologize. Alright. Let's do this. So we did murder cult, we did missing FBI agent, so let's go ahead and do torchbearers. The secrets were not safe from the cult. Okay. So this is the scene that kind of confuses me a little bit because we have two separate scenes where we have the chair, the shackles, where someone was held. Were these just two random people being tortured by the cult? Because my first thought when I saw the two chairs, I'm like, oh, Thornton Mulligan. But I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense because they kind of pseudo-joined them. They were murdered later at the theater. So it wasn't them. It must be just two random people. And then everyone leaves the stream. You have to fight everything, otherwise your OCD gets triggered. I'm sorry. So yeah, this is... Yeah. This must just be two random people. You think they're a torchbearer? No, Max, because the torchbearers were all burned in the subway train. The subway car. Like, it could just be two random people.
This thread would create something terrible in the city, but it's what the story needed.
Alright. Now for the fun part. Let's get out of here. Great. I almost want to just blow one of these right now. There we go, there's one. That one's real. Nope, I'm running out of batteries though. Damn it. Oh, shite.
This is a kid never was a story.
No, you're not real. Go away. I need batteries though. Badly, or I'm gonna need some flares. Boom, now I have full heals. Oh shoot. Feck you guys. See, that's what I was saving that for. Come on, grab it, grab it, grab it, grab it. I don't need ammo right now. I actually need batteries. Like, bad. Okay, let's not do that one yet. Oh, fuck you! Oh, you dildo. And now you close. Goodbye. Okay. Ooh, batteries. Yes. Come to Papa. And I do have that one thing, Lucky Strike, where I have like a 75% chance to regen batteries when I kill something, which is actually really good. Not really, Robin. There's really not a lot of stealth in this. I mean, you can technically... There is some... I forgot which one it is. Hold on. Let's do that. But one of these things allows you to... Yeah, 50% harder for enemies to detect you. So technically, this will help you with stealth, but it doesn't guarantee stealth. Alright. There's my health. Alright, now this one's actually a really interesting echo, because it refers to what these little burning canisters are for. Now, I know there's an enemy in there if I go in there. Never mind, it's right there. So, never mind, I guess I'm going in there anyways. I was going to try not to go in here, because it was a waste of ammo, but whatever.
Turns out the cultists weren't the only ones using the tunnels. Hidden graffiti signs marked secret routes. I kept hearing whispers around burn barrels of an underground society of mystic outsiders with hidden knowledge. Typical New York.
Alan Wake.
Mystical outsiders with hidden knowledge. The Torchbearers. So the real-life parallel to them is going to be the Night Springs group, but I'm wondering if they're referring to something a little bit more than that.
Wake.
Go away. I know you're not real.
Wake. Wake.
Oh, jeez, you're real. Oh, jeez, you're all real. Stay away. I'm just going to run. Screw you. I win. You wish you could have scanned the whole damn the Center Charm. I mean, like, I didn't personally, Dan the Hitman, I didn't expect there to be, like, huge changes throughout the course of the game. But I know there's going to be a lot of changes throughout it. Oh, by the way, guys, so I haven't found any definitive guide on where the... because I have been spoiled on this, unfortunately, that there's Dr. Darling videos. Now, if I'm going to get to a point where I might miss one, yell at me. If they're all story-related, it's fine. I don't care. So I'd say, Pineapple, just tell me if they're story-related or if they're missable. That's all I care about. That's all I really care about. Where am I at? Okay, so there is one more here, but I think it's... There it is. Okay. Got it. And we have officially... Wait, I don't need more words of fix. I'm already maxed out. They're hard to miss. Okay. Well, it looks like I have extra words of power. I wish you could just use that for another one. I wish I could just use that for a different one. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Beautiful. So now let's go ahead and quick slot our flares. Thank you, Baba Jesus. Alright, we're almost done down here. Well, JS Gaming, I haven't finished Final Draft, so I don't know, but I'm presuming because we're calling it Final Draft that this is how the story is supposed to actually end in this version of it. That the base game was just the penultimate version of the story. Second one's easy to miss, but the first and third one are easy enough to find. Okay. Fair enough. Like, I'm just concerned about missing things. 1 second, guys. Do. All right. Let's just get going. And we do have everything in there. Fine. We need a new game plus. I mean, we'll see what happens. Alright, so as soon as I flip the next scene, we're gonna have to run. Well, exactly, Clotinus, Spotinus. That's an awesome name, by the way. Yeah, because, like, technically it's all canon. It all happens. It's just a continuation of the story that... It's like the last time around the bend. It's hard to describe. Alright. And there's the tree. And in the roots of the tree is where that lake is that takes you further down. Because remember, like, I've always made the suggestion, because the Cauldron Lake always came off to me like the Hvelgemyr, which is one of the 3 lakes that feeds the roots of the Yggdrasil. And that lake specifically goes down into Niflheim, the land of mist and fog, which is why it is a nice parallel, because it goes to the Dark Place, Hvelgemyr, Niflheim, between Cauldron Lake and the Dark Place. And if it's one of the 3 lakes that feeds the roots of the Yggdrasil, then we have the Yggdrasil, and at its roots is the lake leading to the Dark Place, the Cauldron, etc. Now, one other random, really cool bit of information. I'm gonna see if I can find it on my computer real quick. Give me a second. Map of Bright Falls. There's an interesting little thing that happened in the AWE DLC trailer of Control. Let me see if I can find it. Give me a second. Okay. AWE DLC trailer. I'm gonna try to find this for you guys real quick, because it's actually it's relevant to the conversation we're having about the Yggdrasil and the lakes that feed it. I'm just gonna have to find the actual scene. I mentioned it during my trailer breakdown video that I put up a couple years back, or Jesus, 3 years back when that game came out. Wait, actually, I think that was it. Give me a moment. Okay, so there's the From Mauro AWE situation. It's like one specific frame that it shows. I'm trying to find it. No, that's Dr. Hartman. Okay, I can't find it right now. Sorry, guys. Long story short, there's a frame that shows the map of Bright Falls and where Cauldron Lake should be. If you invert it, it shows 3 lakes. Even though in real life, Bright Falls, there is not 3 lakes there. But in the image, it shows 3. Which is really freaking weird. But it makes sense about the 3 lakes that feed the roots of the Yggdrasil, why there would be 3, but we'd only experience the 1. But anyways, let's move on. Do the summoning ritual. Out of the depths, the dark presence comes. The way now open. We are going to run. Nope.
The dark presence.
Quick. Let's run.
Fuck!
Go. Go, Alan! Go, Alan! Screw you, bro.
I couldn't hear the dark presence. It was gone.
So you're equating, Kimmy Queen, you're equating that the mystical outsiders as connection with the oldest house, or the board specifically, or the FBC? Okay, let's go ahead and clear up some space. Okay, we actually have some free space now. And I'm gonna save the grenade for now. Yeah, I think that's fine. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look and see what we got. So we got Echoes 7 out of 10, and I know where the next 2 are, but we're still missing one. We're still missing one of them. Like I hope there's not actually one missing, and they just put the wrong number there. Well, so here's the thing, Jose, is the reason why Alan runs so slow in this game is because he had horrible stamina in the first one. So it's a middle ground. So Alan runs super slow, but he never runs out of air. Versus Alan in the first game, who can run quick at the beginning, and then in 3 seconds, it's like, oh, I can't run any further. "100% Leo Nielsen." All right, now we're going to do running round 2. And I think, is the subway actually gone? The car's actually gone. I never even noticed that. The car's actually
was
gone.
Open now. I could get them. Shit.
I swear to God, it's like Alan's little hobbit legs can't run very fast. His gait is short as hell.
The dark presence. I had seen it before. I remembered now. It was always out there, hunting me.
Is this a dubstep demon? Yes. I mean, all of dubstep is demonic, let's be 100% honest. Only a demon can come up with that. Oh, did I say that out loud? Sorry. Alright, and here we go. We're finally in the overlap with Cauldron Lake Shore, where the real-life Hartman, well, when Hartman came out of the lake at the beginning of the game, was strapped down by the cult of the tree. Here we are. We're overlapping with the story. Now, in the context of the movie we've been playing through, Nightingale was running around down in these tunnels the entire time, running away from the cult. Eventually, they caught up to him and then dragged him over here and cut his heart out. But here is our overlap.
I had found the murder site. Somehow the victim's heart was the key.
Oh, I know it, Ethan. I'm kind of memeing more than anything when it comes to dubstep. Like, personally, I can't listen to it, but I know a lot of people enjoy it. Question, guys. I just had a random thought when we're going through here. Because Remedy uses the imagery of the overlaid environment with the other environment is the imagery to reflect overlap, right? That is the exact same imagery that they use in Control down in the Foundation when Jesse goes to try to find Ahti. And they have like the ocean and the trees, and they have that exact same kind of overlaid imagery. Is it too much to make a tinfoil hypothesis that Watery overlaps with the Foundation, or at least where that scene with the ocean overlaps with the Foundation? And that's why it looked like that, because legitimately that was also an overlap. We just didn't have a word for it at the time, but now we do. Because I always had this weird-ass hypothesis that I mentioned in my, crap, which video did I mention this? Was the pyramid? I think it might have been the pyramid symbolism. I think it might have been my pyramid symbolism video. But, like, if we're going to talk about the Dark Place, I had the hypothesis that the Foundation, like the actual foundation of the oldest house, is the foundation that goes over the Dark Place in which reality is built upon. So if we're going to go back to, because I mentioned a little bit about it recently in the last stream about the supernal triangle of the Tree of Life, where we had the Kether Hakma Binah. Well, at the bottom we have Yesod and Malkuth. Now Malkuth is going to be the kingdom, that's going to be manifest reality, right? And Yesod translates to the foundation. Now the foundation is what the reality is built upon. So is it too weird to say that the darkness in the Foundation is built upon the Dark Place? I mean, even look at this room we're in right here. Where you're walking through the Foundation, you have these tall pillars that stretch all the way up. I mean, like, if you take away the rounded size and turn it into the brutalist architecture, this looks like the Foundation. And then above that, the actual foundation of the oldest house is built, and then from there, reality comes up on top of it. Because it's kind of like soil. Like if anyone who doesn't know, I work for a general contractor, and you can't build a house until you pour concrete to lay the foundation, right? But you can't pour the concrete until you prepare the soil underneath. So the soil underneath I'm equating to the Dark Place, the foundation being the oldest house, and then above that you build the structure, which would be reality itself. I don't know. I'm just ranting at this point. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So who knows? Zoe, what are you doing? Alright, let's go ahead and teleport this. So this is the point where Alan accidentally teleports the heart to the fridge. Which is why, even though the heart was in the morgue when they were doing the autopsy, it just randomly happens to be in the fridge, because this is exactly when he transports it to the fridge.
Something had shifted. I felt an overwhelming closeness to home. An FBI agent? Who are you?
What is this? Who are you?
She can hear me.
I'm Saga Anderson, FBI. We can't hear you.
This is Alan Wake. I'm trapped here. The Dark Place. Under Cauldron Lake.
Mount Cauldron Lake. Who are you?
I'm trying to escape. I'm making progress, but I'm in danger. The Dark Presence. Help me. Please, help me. I could sense it. I was closer to home. Had the woman in the vision helped me somehow? Something had changed. Outside. Parliament Tower. Where I'd lived with Alice. It was out there. Waiting for me.
turn off my preview right there. No, I'm not suggesting that the foundation is technically connected to watery. I'm more suggesting, or at least hypothesizing, that maybe Ati made use of, like, forced an overlap for the purpose of traveling. Like, he used it as a means of travel. Because let's just use this, let's take the concept we get in this game and take it to the next logical level. If you need to have a work of fiction in the dark place that mirrors thematically something that's happening in reality, and that creates an overlap, that gives you a way to transport yourself between reality and the dark place. Well, can't you just do that twice in a row? Where you use it once from reality to get to the dark place, then you use it again from the dark place to get back to reality, and essentially use that as a means of teleportation in a weird way. It's kind of a weird... You just... It's like taking the technology or taking the rules of... and moving it to the next logical step. Yeah, like it's just SNH. It just feels like they're using the exact same imagery. But then again, they also use the similar imagery from the hotline calls as echoes. So echoes and the hotline calls technically have the same imagery as well, which is interesting. Actually, doesn't Emily Pope use those exact same words when she's trying to describe what the things are? Hold on. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to pull up this Emily Pope conversation, because I think she even uses the terms echo when referring to the hotline call. Emily Pope conversations. Give me a moment. Okay, come on, commercials. Yes, yes, I know. And I'm not looking to buy Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Moving on. Too much already. Ultimate thing. I think it's when she asks about the hotline. Okay, I can't find it again either. Yeah, but it feels like because Jesse was asking Pope about, hey, what's going on with this? Am I hearing ghosts? And she's like, no, not a ghost, like an echo, maybe. You know the scene I'm talking about? Anyways, Bry Guy Ty, dude, thank you so much again for the donation. You're really awesome, buddy. If Ati did create that overlap, we don't know what he is. He could easily be Sam Lake's self-insert to troll and meddle in the narrative he knew, Yotun. And I'm trying my best to pronounce that properly, because it's not Jotun, it sounds like an EU, like an EU sound at the front, whenever Ati says it, so Jotun, I think, but I could be wrong. Honestly, my opinion about Sam Lake's self-insert is literally just Sam Lake. Like, it's his own character. Thank you so much, Bright Guy Tay. I appreciate that you enjoyed the content. And I do have... Yellowbat already has the next video. He currently is under the weather right now, unfortunately, so I don't think he's going to get to have it ready for a Monday release. But it should be out soon, though. Like that's how I phonetically hear it in my head. Is the Y, instead of being a Y, it's an U. Sound like an E-Y. But I could be very wrong on that. Are you trying to go outside, cat? I think the cat wants to go back outside. Give me a second. Come on. Let's go, sweetheart. Oh, shit. I think I just... Hopefully I did not just break anything. Alright. Alright, let me know if the audio is still good. I think I might have accidentally unplugged some things. You've been really enjoying the gameplay a ton, like watching someone who's really into the lore and the long plays. Yeah, like sometimes it's actually kind of fun. Like I've watched someone play this game who has no knowledge of anything in the Remedy version. It's actually kind of entertaining. It's like watching someone pick up Kingdom Hearts 3 who's never picked up any other games in the series before. They're like, what is happening right now? And if for anyone who doesn't know, yes, I'm a total weeb for Kingdom Hearts, but that's a whole nother story. Yeah. The Y, like the vowel-y sound, a few OE sounds like an ES. So, okay. So it's pretty close then. I'm a little behind because I had to get something, so I ran just out hearing your Foundation rant, but basically you were getting to my point as well. Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Wanted to make sure. Okay, let me step back. Hold on. I kept forgetting to get the screenshots of these poems.
Who was writing who? Who was writing this poem? Me? No.
The writer of the first word, not the writer of the last. With the terror of the light and the shadows cast, the third eye now open to project the night. This is the moment to write. This is the ritual to lead you on. Your friends will meet him when you're gone. So, again, like I believe Laura mentioned, this is a blackout poem, but it's using phrases from Alan's writings to create this poem. And again, this is Thomas Zane's poem. So the question is, who wrote it first, or was one inspired by the other first? And like, it's with how time works in the Dark Place, it's almost impossible to really say. So what does it mean, or is this meaningless? No, this is definitely meaningful. So they're saying the writer of the first word, not the writer of the last. Now, there's two ways to interpret this. Oh, crap. Is if we're going to do this on the microcosmic level, the writer of the first word is the Alan who wrote the return manuscript, and then the writer of the last word is the one who edited the manuscript, scratched it all out, and started rewriting things. So it's referring to two different Alans writing. Or, if you want to go into more of the esoteric ends of things, the writer of the first word would mean the creator of the universe. So they refer to Book of John chapter 1, in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God, for example. The writer of the first word would be the consciousness that gave that intention for creation. And I think that's kind of what Hukmah is anyways, is the conscious intention. I mean, it's also that Sephirah is symbolized by the wand, for example. And why the wands? Because in Kether, where you have the unity, you have the single point. But you take that single point and extend it outwards, your intention is going from the singularity outward into the world. You're projecting it outward, it becomes the wand. So it's the word is kind of the conscious intention behind the manifestation of the creation. But anyways, with the terror of the light and the shadows cast. With the terror of the light and the shadows cast. Now, this is a little bit of Alan Wake lore that's very, very obscure, but Alan actually has an aversion to light. Weirdly enough, like, it's actually a medical condition he has where he's hypersensitive to light. Reasoning that's why he's wearing sunglasses in a lot of his previous stuff. Now, that's only known if you read the survival guide, which is the strategy guide, because there's literally lore in the strategy guide of the game, because why the fuck not? And the shadows cast, interesting. Just like the Hebrew-rooted incantation abracadabra. There you go, Bangarang, yeah. Exactly. And the third eye now open, which the third eye would be the enlightenment chakra, but it's also where Alan was shot with the bullet of light. Which that third eye now open, that could be in reference to when he got shot. To project the night. As a projector, that's going to draw images of both Thomas Zane's projector, which we see all of his films recorded on. But there's also the projection from the slide projector from the ordinary AWE. There's also some suggestions about the Eye of Light being referenced to the former. But that's a whole other story. To project the night, this is the moment to write. It could also be saying that once the third eye is now open to project the night, this is when you need to write, after the third eye is open, when the third eye was opened after he got shot with a bullet of light. And this is the ritual to lead you on. So, like, this, if anything, this seems more like, hey, now that you've come to that realization, now you need to write the final version of the story. No, he was afraid of the dark when he was young, Jose. What I'm saying is he literally has a medical condition. Like, I can... Hold on. Give me a second, guys. I have the strategy guide here somewhere. Alright, I got it right here. Let me read this off to you guys real quick, if I can find the page with it on it. Testing, ding, taken by the dark presence, hints for hikers, Alan Wake. Okay. Main protagonist. So we have a Bright Falls Sheriff's Department, basically had a confidential file on Alan Wake that they wrote up. And it says right here, best-selling writer of horror and crime thrillers for the last few years. However, he hasn't been able to write a single thing, blah, 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 blah. The success of his books has made him a minor celebrity, and when stressed, he loses his temper and lashes out. Most recently, he was on trial for hitting a paparazzi. Wake never knew his father. His mother, Linda Wake, had a psychiatric illness, which meant that she spent a lot of time in various institutions while Wake was growing up. In a way, Wake had searched for a father figure all of his life. Since birth, Wake has suffered from a rare condition that makes him overly sensitive to light. He is blinded by bright light and prone to migraines. Because of this, he often wears sunglasses. Wake is married to Alice, blah, 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 blah. So, that's just a little interesting piece right there. But yes, he has a medical condition that makes him sensitive to light and, as a result, prone to migraines. No, Alice more has the phobia to darkness. She's nyctophobic, at least in the first game. It seems she's gotten over her nyctophobia, though. Which is interesting. Alright, so let me adjust my volume a little bit, because I think I turned my headphones on a little too high. Alright, let's get going. He's photophobic. I don't know if it's that he's phobic, it's just a hypersensitivity. Like, it's not like an irrational fear or anything, it's just he has an innate sensitivity to it.
Stepping to the murder site, I'd felt it, hanging in the air. A meaning, the violent emotion of the act, like a cloud of wrath. The dead eyes of the victim staring at something you couldn't see.
That is what it's called, photophobia? Okay.
Making you aware
That's fair.
of it. Something that's soaked into this place on a molecular level, overlapping with your meaningless existence. Regression to something you had managed to forget. Marking you. Taking you for a ride. Making you crazier.
I mean, speaking of someone who also is fair-eyed, because I got blue eye. Actually, it's like a blue-gray eyes, but my eyesight is very sensitive to light as well, so I have to wear shades anytime I go outside. Otherwise it's like, it kind of hurts. But on top of that, we're prone to cataracts later in life if you don't protect them when you're younger. Like my dad, for example, right now is undergoing talks with his doctor regarding cataract surgery because he spent his entire career out on the road without protecting his eyes. So I just recently, I want to say like last year, got a new pair of prescription sunglasses. And hopefully I don't have to deal with that when I'm older. Oh yeah, I planned to...
The station had changed. I was closer now.
Writing is the key. Art is the key to find my way out of the dark place. I can't forget this. Don't you fucking forget this. I'm in the dark place. I'm outside time and space. Outside reality. But this is real. A nightmare dimension. An ocean of darkness. Remember, its dark energy can make art come true. Make dreams and nightmares come true. Yes, I can use this. I need to use this. Hungry, monstrous things. Out there, plotting to stop me, to devour me, become me. Oh no.
So I want to check something real quick.
The memory is fading like a dream.
Okay, so he's wearing the suit there. He's wearing the checkered.
Writing is the key. Art is the key to find. Time is broken here.
I'm checking his outfits because that kind of gives us a timeline.
It loops around.
What is he wearing there?
And yet it goes forward.
Is it the flannel?
A spiral. I thought I was finding remnants of the earlier loops, earlier drafts of my writing. Murder sites that I had left clues, mementos for myself to guide.
No, that's not that.
The dark place
So,
wants to draw me.
this is his Alan Wake 1 outfit. This is a different outfit. That's his American Nightmare outfit, and this is his Alan Wake 2 outfit.
The memory is fading like a
Okay. So it seems like there's 3 different versions of Alan writing right now that all contributed to this manuscript. And we can technically do a timeline of when those scenes occurred based upon his outfits, but that doesn't even really help us much. Interesting. Because we know he got out of the dark place wearing a certain outfit too, which further gives us a timeline. Yeah, so if you see lights at night look like starburst flares, definitely go see your optometrist about astigmatism, because that's what I have. I have astigmatism myself. And that's exactly what it looks like when I'm not wearing my glasses.
Parliament Tower. Our home in New York. Was I really this close to being home? Going up to our apartment? Would I be home? Or was this just an echo of the real thing? Even then, the murder site had brought me one step closer to escape. The payphone at the edge of the plaza was ringing again.
Yeah, Dan the Hitman, astigmatism is just an eye condition where you're, instead of being like the shape of your eye is kind of squished. So light hits it in a different way.
Hey, Alan. Thank God it picked up. I thought I lost you again.
Who are you? Why are you helping me?
Did you go deeper? To the overlap?
Are you talking about the murder site? Yeah, I did.
That's fantastic, Alan. We're closer to getting out. We're making progress.
Well, we would be if you would answer my damn questions.
Last time we spoke, you were pretty worried about Alice. Did you ever check Parliament Tower? To make sure she really got out of the dark place?
Well, of course she got out. That's why I'm here. That's the whole goddamn point.
Be very careful, Alan. The dark presence is stealing from you. It can already manifest as your double. Scratch will...
Wait, hello?
Yeah, and it's for that very reason why all the light bulbs in my house, I use dim lighting. It's the ones that have like that dim yellow lighting, because I cannot stand daylights or even soft lighting. I need to have that yellow light in my house, which, coincidentally enough, like it's not that yellow, it's a little bit brighter than that, but yeah. Otherwise it just hurts my eyes. Yeah, seriously, I'm with you, Melissa. I think Zane in some of these phone calls is just gaslighting us. He's just effing with us. And I have more evidence that later once we get to the Room 665 scene, but yeah.
Time loses meaning here. How long have I been trying to escape? Long enough for Alice to think I'm dead.
I'm just going to refer to this as Doppelzane from now on. I'm coining that term here. Well, as of right now, Leo Nielsen, I don't know anything about Alice interacting with anybody in the dark place other than herself. And technically Saga, because she called Saga a couple times and she left a few things for us, but I have no information about that.
writer. Maybe he was a victim. The cult, using his words. Or maybe he was the monster behind it all. Either way, Alice Wake, his ex, she knew things. It was there in her art for all to see. A cry for help. The darkness she'd witnessed. And that put her in danger.
Was Alice here? In the story?
Now, I must add on, like, my opinion about this specific echo is I don't know if it's included in the, What do you guys... Actually, I should ask you guys, because I haven't settled my thoughts on this. This specific echo about Casey looking up Alice, do we think it's part of the same film that we've just been experiencing regarding the murder cult, or if it's a separate story involving Alex Casey? Because, yeah, we got the first 9, but we still don't know where the 10th one is. Because technically this is labeled under Draft 1. I just haven't really... Yeah, she'd be a widow. She wouldn't be the ex. It's just, again, Melissa, this is going to be a fictionalized version of it. Even if we're talking about the same thing here. We're talking about an Alan Wake that's in the film that Alex Casey is starring in and going through the investigation, which means this is a different Alan and a different Alice. And in this version, it's an ex and not an action. They're not a widow. So 10 is still glitched. But has anyone seen the... Max, has anyone seen the 10th echo here? Oh, same thing here, AMR. The thing is, like, when Alice jumped off the cliff, I did not believe... Like, I was in a state of disbelief, to be 100% honest. I'm like, no, there has to be more to this. And the second we saw her hand grab the clicker right before Deerfest, it was like confirmation. Just what it's meant to be about? Okay. I'll revisit that, Max. I'll revisit it. Because right now I don't want... Just in case. I don't know. Oh, that's new.
Alice. What was that? Like a ray of warm light, I felt her presence. It gave me strength to go on.
Spark of light? What? Hold on. Hold the phone! Spark of light. Is there, like, something in the collectible screen somewhere? No. No. It's under key items? I don't even know where to find my key items. Inventory key items? I don't have... I can't do that. R1 for items? Nope. I just wasted another battery. R1 is... Guys, R1 is my flashlight. Holy shit, I did not even know you can do this! I didn't even... The only time I've ever pulled this up is when I was interacting with something I needed. Since when can you do that? Oh my god. Okay. We need to reestablish this to everybody, but I am notoriously not very observant. I am horrible at observing the most basic of things. I'll notice the smallest things, or I notice some things, but something like this, I'm like, whatever. Whatever. You'll need to go... you still need to go through the loop. Anyways. Moving on. This is why the game devs put yellow paint on everything, exactly. Great.
Alice's photo equipment. Set to go off when the door opens.
I'm actually curious how Alan's going to behave this time around the bend, considering if he's getting messages from Alice while he's going through the story, that's going to change his perspective on her quote-unquote death and all the events leading up to it, because he has this confirmation that there's something else going on. Her presence is still there, even afterwards.
Get out! Leave me alone!
Alice! Alice! Alice.
Pick photos for exhibition.
This is a photo of Scratch. How did Alice get this?
There's her
Is he
hand,
stalking her?
there's the clicker, bullet of light, and all that fun stuff. Okay. Now, one little thing I found rather interesting, by the way. On her bookshelf, she has a bunch of random stuff, but the only one that's actually readable is this one, which is entitled Lady of the Lake. And we can just meditate on that as much as we want. Aqua Plantag. Is that Plantag Latin? Hold on. Ah! No, I'm not trying to print anything. Plantag translation. What's it actually translate to though? Exhibit. Water something. Translate. Okay, let's try to translate Latin to English real quick. Latin, English. Come on, computer. It just says plantain, so it's not really anything. Well, because, like, the thing I found interesting, like, the thoughts I had when I saw this Lady of the Lake thing, granted, you see this book in other parts of the game, but it's very specifically here in her room, and it's very specifically in reference to her in the lake. But because time doesn't work properly here, it's very possible that something that happened 3,000 years ago was as a result of something that happened right now. So would it be too out of the question for people from 3,000 years ago to experience Alice Wake in the lake and then start calling her the Lady of the Lake? It just means water plant? Okay, that's fine. But yeah, like, if literally ancient people, when they're writing the Arthurian myths, mistook Alice Wake as the Lady Nimue, just because time is kind of all funky here and it doesn't really mean anything. Amelia, I know you don't like Alice. I haven't seen any evidence for that whatsoever. It doesn't mean anything. It's just an interesting parallel. Like, this is not evidence of anything.
This is the door to my study, where I wrote my books. This symbol wasn't here before.
Well, that's the question, Stikefaker, because technically this is not the layout of their apartment. At all. but we're currently in the dark place. But it's also made the impression I'm getting is that Alan is technically overlapping with the real apartment, and that's why Alice is getting her recurring nightly visits. So, Game Vault guides about Zane's poems being found in the Alan's apartment. That was only in the remastered version. It was not in the original base game. So, personally, I just think it was an error. But that's just me. But there's also the other side of me that thinks the remastered version actually isn't the base game. It's a separate story entirely. Because there are changes to it. Almost like an in-lore retcon for other reasons. But anyways. But, I might have to release a whole video on my theory on that, though.
Part 1. What was Alice working on?
Part 1. I mean, like, has anyone ever played Silent Hill Shattered Memories? Because the whole point of that game is that it's a Harry Mason in therapy recounting the events of the first game, but the details are a little bit different. So it's technically a retelling of the game, but it's not a retelling of the game because it's not the same story, if that makes sense. I wouldn't really say it's the final draft of the first game, Leo. It feels more like a retelling. Like Shattered Memories is. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on. I've literally just been sitting around ranting for forever.
When I was younger, photography was everything to me. I moved to New York thinking I'd make it as an artist. And then I met Alan. We had a good thing. We were both dedicated by our creative ambitions. The only difference was that Alan's work made money. He brought me work when he could. I took his promo shots, created covers for his books. I'm sure he forced his publisher into it. I was taking photos, just not my photos. And that gnawed at me. Things got complicated sometimes, but that's life, right? We loved each other. Then Alan hit a block. I brought out a meaner side of him. One I didn't like. I set up a trip to see a doctor in Washington. I didn't tell him until we got there. We argued. Things went wrong. And he was just gone. Drowned, allegedly. It's easy for people to think it was my fault. Hell, I do, too, sometimes. About 6 years ago, I started hearing noises in the night. Typewriter keys clacking. Voices. Alan was back. Haunting me. Then it got violent. It was Alan. And yet, it was a monster. He always did have anger in him. around the apartment with motion sensors and flashes. Now, when the monster comes, I turn it into art. My nightmares caught on film. And this is the focus of my new exhibition. To show people the world is so much darker than they ever knew. I'm calling this exhibit The Dark Place.
Alice. Scratch was terrorizing her. Why?
Alright, so to go back to a question I saw come through while I was going through that scene, yes, American Nightmare is canon, and the reason for the different characterization of Scratch is because they're not the same thing. So Scratch is just a blanket term that Alan uses to describe a doppelganger of himself. Now, he has a lot of doppelgangers that he comes across. The one in American Nightmare is specifically the urban legends told about him by the populace that formed itself into its own entity. And that was defeated. But the Scratch in this game, a lot of the times Alan uses the term Scratch, but he's actually talking about himself. He's not even talking about a dark version of him. It's just literally himself, but he doesn't realize it's him from a different space and time. Like, when he's sitting there editing the manuscript and then a version of him comes through and shoots him in the head, he says, "Oh, look, it's Scratch." And then when he's on the flip side, he sees himself scribbling out, saying, "Oh, look, it's Scratch." No. Neither of those is Scratch. That's just him referring to another version of himself in time. Scratch only gets developed after the Dark Presence possesses him. So, like, I wouldn't get caught up too much in the details of using the term Mr. Scratch in this series. It's just a blanket term. But I'm actually really interested in Alice's journey throughout this entire thing, which is what I want to focus on. Because Alice, throughout the entire base game, is nyctophobic, but by the time she gets to this phase of her story, she no longer has that fear. Now, I have a hypothesis about what is going on with Alan throughout this entire franchise. Is literally confronting each individual complex, each individual neuroses, each individual fear, each negative aspect of his personality. Like, every single narrative is him confronting one part of himself, one way or another, and having to come to terms with it and integrate it. If anyone's played Persona 4, for example, the whole confrontation to the shadow that they do in that game is kind of what Alan is doing, just consistently over and over with different aspects of himself. Whereas the characters in Persona 4 only had to deal with one part of their character, Alan is forced to confront everything, one at a time, until it all makes sense. Now, the fact that Alice was able to come to terms with her nyctophobia before she entered the Dark Place means that that aspect can no longer control her. I have a feeling that the ascension she's referring to in the end credit conversation she has is about once the Dark Place has no more tricks it can play on you because you've already integrated all aspects of the shadow, you technically ascend and become the self, which is the higher being. Well, Bangarang, technically, like, it's not that the Scratch in American Nightmare is what he could be if he let himself off the loose. The game is very specifically and flat out says, no, this is a version of him that is made up of all the bad urban legends told about him. It's people's perception of him. It's kind of like what happened with What's-His-Face, again, at the end of Persona 4. If you know, you know about what the TV world actually represents with the one of the antagonists, quote unquote. But I'm not going to say more in case anyone hasn't played that game. Anyways, let's get on to this. People's perception is not reality. You are petitioning the filmmaker being called Zane and poet called Tom. I mean, I'm just gonna call him Doppel Zane for now. See, there's an angry face, and the second the light comes on to him, you see his features soften. See, there he comes in. That's when his features soften.
sat in the writer's room and wrote a story. Initiation. To project myself through the dark place, to look for a way out. The story had brought me here, brought me nowhere. Looped me back. I was writing the story. And in the story, I now stepped into the writer's room. But there was no one here writing it.
So now he's blending through time. So this is very much like Will's workshop in Quantum Break Act 2, where time is kind of like flipping around a little bit. Alright, and I do want to comment on some people making the assertion that Alice entered the oldest house during lockdown. That's not the case. Alice went to the FBC in like 2017. This was a couple years before the building lockdown. And that's explicitly stated in the AWE DLC. Because that's when the Hartman kind of broke loose. Her being there is what sparked Hartman to break loose, and then she left, and then the entire investigation sector got taken.
But you don't see me anywhere. I'm right in front of you, I'm right here.
Raging Reese, I do not think the red has anything to do with the hiss, but it is intended to give us that oppressive feeling of an alien force. Because let's be honest, if the hiss was involved here, no one would survive. Because there's no protection against the resonance-based life form here. So I'm gonna say no on that one.
Fade into black. Forever
I mean, Poe's voice is just amazing, let's be real. And if I'm tone deaf, just forgive me. I appreciate it. Okay, now it's forcing us back over to Saga. So he's got the flannel, so this is the American Nightmare outfit.
Okay, let's recap what you've told us so far, Alan. For the past 13 years, you've been trapped in a nightmare dimension called the Dark Place. Yeah. It's like New York, but it's not New York. And can be reached from the bottom of Cauldron Lake, but it's not really under the lake. And after all this time, you've managed to get out.
Yeah.
But so has your evil doppelganger. Mr. Scratch? Or is it the Dark Presence?
Both. It's interchangeable.
Right there.
He's Scratch when he looks like me, but he can change into this other form.
And Scratch, the Dark Presence, wants to rewrite the world in his own image.
Which would be in your image, as he looks just like you.
And turn the world into a fucking nightmare.
During Deerfest, which is scheduled to take place in a couple of days. You got out of the Dark Place by writing a novel, the pages we've been finding. But your double edited it into a horror story that's now changing reality, taking over people, making them crazy, bringing the Dark Place to Bright Falls.
Yes, fiction coming in contact with the Dark Place can change reality. The story is coming true, soaking into everything like darkness when night falls. But last time
This will be back in 2010.
Yes, last time it didn't happen all at once. The story came true bit by bit as it unfolded. And that dark presence was still bound to the lake. I stopped it before it got the ending it wanted. before it broke free. Based on that, there's still time.
Which brings us to your magical light switch.
The clicker. Magical doesn't quite cover it. Scratch wants it to bring about his ending. That can't happen. If I can get the clicker, I can send him back to the dark place, make all this shit go away. Look, I know it's batshit crazy. My memory is full of holes, and I'm not sure how much I can trust. It's like a half-forgotten dream.
Mr. Wake. Alan. We've seen our share of batshit crazy in the past 24
You ain't
hours.
seen shit.
What I want to know is...
Sorry.
Why am I? Why are we written into the story?
Because you're uniquely able to deal with the story.
I think I saw you. Or a vision of you in the dark place. I think you helped me reach out and escape somehow. With that in the story,
100%
Scratch would have edited it to get to you. To hurt you. We are all in danger.
It's insane. And there's so much of it. Have you ever heard of the cult of the tree?
Creepy bunch. In the habit of wearing deer masks, performing murder rituals, victims turning into monsters possessed by darkness, possibly inspired by a horror story written by a certain author. Ring any bells?
The cult. Yes. Yes. They have the clicker.
I'm going to say no on that one, Dino Lin, about Saga being a shifter. I see zero evidence for that. She would have to be Chronon active for that to eventually occur, and we would... It's very obvious. We would know if she was Chronon active at this point. No, it's... See, I have a lecture that I'm currently working on related to Alan Wake 2. It's not going to come out anytime soon because I want to finish the replay of this first, but I do have it coming up. But it has to do with the symbolism of the balance between order and chaos. So, and in this scenario, Alan representing the ordered aspect because in his writings, everything is specifically the letter of the law when it comes to his book. When it comes to the manuscript, it has to be what's on the page. There is no freedom. Because the problem with extreme order is that there is no freedom. There's no free will. There's no independence within it. Everything has to be the specific way. There's no in-betweens. Now, and that's where Saga comes in. She represents the chaos aspect of it, which means she does have the freedom and the free will to act within the ordered world that Alan creates. No other character, as we see with Casey, even though Casey's a good dude, he still has to obey what's on page. Saga can ignore it. And this is where we get the healthy balance between order and chaos that allows the story to progress. If that makes sense. That's kind of the thesis of the thing I'm writing right now for it, but I'm moving it on. Okay, let's go ahead and work on some of this.
Wake just gave us a lot of information. But this clicker seems like a good place to start. If we find that, then we find the cult.
No, that's not how it would work, Nathan. She's not Chronon active because she's Door's daughter. Like, the only people we've seen become Chronon active are those who are exposed to Chronon particles over a long period of time. And even then, it's very rare, because technically William Joyce was exposed to Chronon particles for a long period of time. He was not Chronon active. He was able to walk through the stutters only when Jack pulled him into the stutter, if that makes sense. But no, I don't. We would know. she would have like time distortions around her at all times. She would not be able to control it. It would just be chaotic. The only reason that Door is able to is because he has a very long time dealing with it. He exists exclusively in the dark place where time is meaningless. And if we're going to use Martin Hatch as an example, he has those eye drops, which are chronon infused, which allow him to consolidate himself into one version of reality. Anyways, okay. Nope, not that one. Cult is working for someone. Why work for Scratch? What does the cult get out of it? They're not. This is a flawed assumption. Cauldron Lake rhymes. The hero of the rhyme left her child unprotected. So this is what Saga gets out of it. So one thing about literature is it's not always just what was written. It's not always just what the author intended, but it's what the audience gets out of the piece of fiction. And what Saga is getting out of this piece of fiction is the hero of the rhyme left her child unprotected. And it's very obvious what is on her mind as she thinks about that. Eye drops and then he finally got glasses. Yes, exactly. In the rhyme, the mother crow tried to protect its nest, but ultimately failed. So let's just read through this. The hero of the rhyme left her child unprotected. In the rhyme, the mother crow tried to protect its nest, but ultimately failed. A rhyme about counting crows. So it just goes on from there. But each one is basically telling her story little by little. Which also means that Agent Eugene Campbell from the FBC accidentally gained inspiration from Saga's real story before it happened.
The pages we've been finding are from a horror story called Return, written by Alan Wake, and the contents of this book are coming true. Why couldn't it have been a romance?
Right. Noah Boyd, 100%. So I fully believe that Door was the thing that they were fighting during the 1998 incident when Odin lost his eye, but it's implied that Door took his eye as collateral until they could all reunite, which is what happens at the end of the game, when Odin and Tor and Saga are all in the dark place at that point in time. Now, if you take that and go to the Sea of Night song that Odin was writing in his room at Valhalla, they question about... Because in the mythology, Odin gives his eye to Mimir as a sacrifice before he's allowed to drink from the Well of Wisdom, the Mimisbrunner, which is where he gains the a lot of his like gift of prophecy and other enlightenment abilities. So it almost feels like if Mr. Door's the one that takes Odin's eye, if he's playing the role of Mimir in that sense. But that's just more of a poetic symbolism and echo more than anything. Okay, the story changes of reality a bit by bit. I love how in this picture it has the Night Spring specifically underneath it. My question is, who took these photos? How did you get a picture of the dark place? There's a dark entity inside the dark place. Yep. So right here is where it specifies that the Mr. Scratch and the Dark Presence are interchangeable. So technically Scratch in this context is just the Dark Presence occupying his body and taking his form. Actually, no, Master Morden. The FBC documents about Odin losing his eye is not accurate. So what he says is they're drunk and they're contemplating taking out his own eye. But it doesn't specify he actually did it. Unless you're thinking of a different document than I am. Okay, I'm not even reading these. Wake's fiction coming into contact with the dark places, the power to change reality, so that's going to be the rules. If we don't stop at Scratch, we'll use the story to permanently change reality and start Deerfest. Maybe? No, how to stop it? Yeah, let's go with that. Like... the contemplation. Okay, so if that's the case, Master Morden, if you have... do you remember the name of the specific document that specifies him taking his eye out? Because if you have that, go ahead and comment it, and I'll go look it up real quick. We get the clicker before Scratch? With it, the story can be changed. Scratch will be sent back to the dark place. That's how to stop it, yep. Some other strange reality, the dark place merged with ours. This dark place called the overlap. That's gonna be how the dark place works. Yeah. I appreciate it, Master Morden. You're awesome. Thank you. Okay, and we can't do that one yet. Okay, that was a lot.
If the cult has the clicker, does that make them Scratch's followers? How are you so certain they even have the clicker?
They could be working for Scratch. I don't remember. It's all confused.
Alan, if I'm gonna act on this information, you need to be honest with me.
Yeah, of course.
Is he confused? Or is he hiding something?
Who knows? Ludgero, so I need to know your opinion. What do you think of Hatch's experience in the natural time machine mirrors Alan's experience in Cauldron Lake in the Dark Place? You know, honestly, I haven't really thought about it in this particular term, but we never got information on specifically what the cave that he went into, how it functioned, whether it literally just transported him to the future, or based upon the rules of the Dark Place nowadays, you can use the Dark Place to time travel. Kinda, sorta. I mean, like, it technically kind of works that way in essence. So there might be a scenario where entering the Dark Place, Martin Hatch was able to therefore jump forward through time in some way, shape, or form. But I couldn't say. I couldn't say 100%. Personally, I hope we play Tim Breaker in the Night Springs DLC. I think it would make a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that cave thing though, because we don't have any more evidence for it, so it's more of a let's just label that and file it away as that would be an interesting thing, but we can't support it one way or another.
Wake said the cult has the clicker. How does he know?
The writer is the reader. The next chapter.
The writer is the reader.
The next chapter. Keep the pages safe, the dark shining of the words.
Wake is hiding pages. That's how he knows the cult has the clicker. Wake has a double. Mr. Scratch. Where is he now?
A cloud of wrath wears my face. The dark place in your place. Scratching out my body of work.
See, that's
Scratch
not the
is
case.
Here, in Washington. He's hunting Wake.
See, this is, again, Alan's under the impression that Scratch is editing his manuscript, which we now know in retrospect is not the case. It's himself. It's still Alan doing it, just at a different point in time, but he's calling him Scratch, which is incorrect. So we have to remember some of this is the unreliable narrator trope.
Scratch looks just like Wake. Why?
Don't wake up the dreamer if your life is a dream. I swam to the shore, but the water is rising.
Wake and Scratch are clearly connected. Maybe Scratch got out because Wake did. Or vice versa.
Well, And Amelia, I'm not saying that you can use the dark place to time travel. I'm just I'm kind of like fan fictioning it in a certain sense, because if all stories, if you can witness something from any point in time from the dark place as inspiration, and you were able to create an overlap with that point in time, you would essentially be able to cross over into reality at the point where that story occurs, which in a form is kind of time travel, even though it's kind of a roundabout way. But there's no guarantee that that's how it actually works. It's just a thought that's been thrown out.
Okay, Mr. Wake, I know you have more pages of the manuscript on you.
You don't understand how vital these pages are. They're the only way I can know what's coming.
You're not the only one trying to solve this. This is our job.
Okay. Here. Now, this is all I have. Be careful with them.
You think that Sam Lake is the real antagonist of the Remedyverse? I don't think so. What's the basis of this? Is the controller of their worlds? Well, okay. Oh, great. You guys are gonna make me do this. Alright. You guys want some deep, dank Max Payne lore? Talking about the controller of the universe. Alright, guys. We're going to switch over to my computer for a second. So, in Max Payne, there is a TV show and a comic strip called Captain Baseball Bat Boy. And yes, this is relevant. So, the whole point of it is there's a section where Bicycle Helmet Girl is kidnapped by Maxwell's Demon. And Maxwell's Demon actually is a creation by a Dr. Entropy. Now, the funny thing is the creator of this comic strip is Sammy Waters. Now, the interesting thing about Maxwell's Demon is it's a mathematical thought experiment about entropy, specifically, in which if you have a high entropy state and a low entropy state, you have a dividing line, like two separate boxes. And the Maxwell's Demon is a hypothetical demon that sits between it and opens and closes a door to allow the high density, the high energy particles and the low energy particles to move into specific parts of the box. And in essence, it's a way to control entropy. It's like the only way for entropy to not be a natural force, but to be consciously controlled is through the thought experiment of Maxwell's Demon. But the point is, Sammy Waters is the creator of this thing, Dr. Entropy and Maxwell's Demon. Anyways, moving onwards. Moving onwards. All right. Wait, did I get it from him? Or I have to go over here. There we go.
Inside the trailer, at the outskirts of Watery, Saga had seen Wake's fabled clicker for the first time, in the hands of the Cult of the Tree. A cultist stared at her. She drew her weapon.
The trailer. Okay, there we go.
Standing inside the trailer, at the outskirts of Watery, Saga had seen Wake's fabled clicker for the first time, in the hands of the Cult of the Tree. Her mind reeled from what the horror story was now claiming about her. Her life, her past. She didn't accept it. She stepped out of the trailer. She needed air. But she wasn't alone. A cultist stared at her from behind a deer mask. She drew her weapon, shouted, ran after him.
Dan the Hitman, we don't have a confirmation when exactly Alice jumped into the lake. I will say it is most likely somewhere between 2019 and 2023. Because at the time of 2019, all the documents did not refer to her as deceased. So she was still up and around and kicking. Now, we do have some email correspondence between Barry and her, so I'm going to look at that as also possible timeline when we get to that point of the story. Hey, Ludgero. So I'm barely into Final Draft, so if it's anything that happens later, I'm not going to really say much. I don't really want any of that information. Okay. Alright, guys. There's a couple manuscript pages. Oh, yeah, that's in the Booker's room. Anyways, guys, I'm going to leave this off here for today. And we are going to get started on this again maybe tomorrow evening, if that works for everybody. It's the weekend. What I did during the base game is I did 2 streams, one in the morning and one in the evening, but I do have a lot of stuff to do because Christmas is coming up and I have some nephews to shop for, so I'm going to be busy throughout the days. But we're going to go ahead and do some more streaming tomorrow evening. Same time. Anyways, I am going to let you all go. Thank you all for hanging out. And I will say, I almost think it's relevant that Saga's wearing a Red Riding Hood. Considering that there's the wolf is symbolized as the antagonist in the story in the nursing rooms. But anyways, my freaking little ADD brain going all over the place. Anyways, guys, take it easy. Love you all. Enjoy your weekend. I hope everything goes well, and I can't wait to hang out with you all soon. Later.